Well, I wanted to preview these with you guys real quickly before the meeting so that you can review them. I do have one catalog item created, and we can very easily copy this and create all of the other ones. It has the basic information that we need. So if I describe the issue, and then I go ahead and if I leave this blank, it will be okay. If I put in something else, it's going to go ahead and check it. And then I can either validate CAPTCHA or not validate CAPTCHA. If I don't validate the CAPTCHA and I submit this, it's not going to let me submit it. It's going to make me validate it first. So if I say I'm not a robot, and it might bring up pictures, and then I click on submit there, what it's going to do, it's going to go to the email address next. So it's going to make them either enter a valid email or leave it blank. I'll go ahead and enter a valid email so it matches the formatting, and then I'll go ahead and submit it. Now what's going to happen over here is that ticket is going to be created, and when it comes in, that ticket will come over here, and a couple things are going to happen. The first thing it's going to do is it's either going to find a user, like the one I just created, or if the user is not there, it's going to go ahead and create the user. All right, so in this case, this user, ffr@gg.com, this user was just created by the workflow. It didn't have one before, else it would have multiple cases. So we'll log another case as that user just to show you that functionality. Now the other thing that happened with the case when it came in is it was a library services case for the business services, and it was against website and eLibrary. That was the catalog item. And it also went into the service offering and added the assignment group to the ticket. So that's all done now. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more use case, and then I'll show you something else. So if I go ahead and here and I describe the issue like we did before, and I go ahead and I am going to pick this same user out, because what it did is it created the consumer, and what I'm doing is I'm creating that consumer with the first name the same as the email address. So the first name and the email address will be the same. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is another issue, and it's going to be that same user. I'm going to go ahead and do my CAPTCHA validation and submit that. And then it's going to go, we have to define this landing page. But now what I'll have here is I'll have a second ticket in the system. And then that second ticket will have ffr@gg.com. But if you notice, what it did is it added that same user. So now this user has two cases, and we're drawing them together because they're being united on the consumer record. Okay, so what it did also is, I mentioned before, it went into the service offering and pulled out the assignment group. And on that assignment group, if I pull up library, we can see that there is a user on here. So there's 8 members in library. And then if I go to James Vo, what I did is I gave this group, I gave them the CSM role. So these are all CSM agents, and I assigned the CSM agent role to this group. So now if I go ahead and emulate James Vo, what we'll do is we'll be able to go ahead and look at James Vo's workspace. Right, so if we go to agent workspace, because he does have permissions to use the CSM workspace now, and I go to James Vo workspace, what will happen is you'll see that there's 2 tickets for the team, because he's logging in and he's part of that library work group, and he'd be able to click on those tickets and he could see the 2 issues that we just logged, and then with those 2 issues he can go ahead and open one up and start working on it. And you'll see here that he has the consumer, so that consumer is up here, and I would be able to go ahead and pull that consumer up if I wanted to, right? So I could see information on the consumer, and I could say, oh yeah, that ffr@gg.com has 2 cases, and then I can go ahead and work on that user's case as well. Okay, and I did minimize the case form here, so if I do need to go ahead and either assign it to me, I can go ahead and assign it to me now, and it'll be in my queue, or I'd be able to go ahead and change the assignment to somebody else within the library assignment group, right? So those other 8 people will come up here now, and I could say, okay, I'm going to send this to John Hahn if I need to. I can also change the group and assign it to somebody outside of the group as well. That's it. Quick 5-minute demo, and that should help us for today in our meetings. Thanks, everybody.